Emeka ran after his wife out of his little apartment early in the morning.
You're a coward.
He was shouting while panting
I
at the
will
same
blow
time.
your head.
And
Stop
this time around, it was
Hey,
intense.
what are you doing?
People stopped to watch
My husband,
what
leave
could
me
have
alone.
caused the early morning
Leave me
chaos
alone.
when they ought to have been making efforts to go out like a responsible citizen. What has happened again? A woman questioned among others. Emeka's wife stood firmly with her unkempt hair and frowning frantically at her husband, talking back non-stop to his words and at the same time throwing a fist fight at him like a real boxer. It was a very long commotion that their neighbors kept wondering what could have happened. They knew Emeka as a very gentle and calm man, but ever since he brought home his wife from the village, he has become another version of himself. Sometimes he goes out happily, and at times he looked like a homeless beggar without a proper checkout before settling out. You might wonder what happened. How could a man of his kind ended up with such a troublesome wife? Well, a bad ending doesn't occur without a reason from the start. Emeka grew up from a law-abiding family, and as the first son, he left to the city to get a better life for himself. He struggles to survive, and even with that, he was able to sponsor himself to become a graduate as a computer engineering. He learned handwork to further his knowledge, but at the end, life wasn't as sweet as he expected for himself. His CV was submitted at many companies, but none called for his resume. He moved on and focused on his handwork and started working in a rented shop. When he knew he had enough to build a family, he traveled back home after getting an assurance conclusion with his mother on calls that there was a very respectful friend daughter of her already ripe to plug. When he got there, truly love is in the eyes of his beholder. She looked beautiful and her smiles were so breathtaking. Things were done really fast because he had found his missing ribs. 2 days after their marriage, they both returned to the city. Emeka loved her so much that he made sure she doesn't lack anything. Not quite long, her character started changing. Like they said, one's character is like smoke. No matter how long it's kept secretly, it will eventually flames up. It began when she became pregnant. The house would be left unkept. Plates would piled up in the kitchen. The sitting room, perfect smells started changing. Emeka had questioned her about it, and she would blame it on her pregnancy. So he fell for it and will then clean and clean until it becomes okay. One day, he returned home with his friend who had wanted to see his wife ever since he married. But what welcomed them was unpleasant. Victoria was right in the sitting room, sitting on a potty and defecating. What is all this love? What? Emeka was dumbfounded, while his friend's expression was more like a mockery. She stood, holding the potty, and asked what she had done. Emeka's friend had to leave that day because of the smells. He laughed at his friend and told him he had carried more than his power. But Emeka wasn't happy. He couldn't walk his friend far and returned home. He immediately locked the door and took a perfume to spray around the sitting room. Why spraying the house? What is smelling? Victoria's question triggers annoyance in him that his mouth couldn't open to talk. When it was night before they slept, he talked to her about her dirtiness and how it could affect their unborn child, and also how important cleanliness is. Instead of her to be remorseful, she put the blame on the baby, that it was the baby that was pushing her to do whatever she was doing. The baby wants poo-poo smell and I give see no stress me again. Or is it not you that put the baby inside me? She said, and made to lie down, but Emeka stopped her. Are you not showering tonight too? He said. Baby does not want to shower, she answered while lying down. Emeka sighed softly, his hand under his cheek with a worried face. He was definitely getting fed up. So he had to summon courage, and like a desperate man in need of favor from God, he would pray effortlessly on his wife's behalf to deliver the baby quickly. Even at that, when she gave birth, it became worse. She would sleep like pig and snores, forgetting to do her proper job as a wife. This led to an hot argument between Emeka and her. I do not understand you a bit, Victoria. Our daughter is seeing all this. Is this what you should be teaching her? How to be dirty and lazy? He lamented. Do I look like I have time to listen to all this rubbish you are saying? See, let me tell you, if you're not satisfied with everything I have been doing in this house, then take it up from there. Or you think it's easy to take care of our child, cook and washing of clothes, and you still expect me to be sweeping and mopping all the time? Mr. Man, and don't put words in my mouth, do you hear? She replied and left, leaving Emeka speechless. He couldn't believe his eyes that she could be lying blatantly and be confident about it. He couldn't remember the last time she had cooked for him, even with the fact that he returns home late and tired from work most times without her caring about it. Instead, he would be the one to cook. Despite all this, he would mutter softly, almost in tears, that he truly loves his wife and doesn't want anything to separate them. 5 years later, Emeka had become malnourished. His shop has been demolished by the government and he had no much at hand. He was always thinking non-stop about a way out. In all this, his wife doesn't give a bit care about his frustrated life. She would dress gorgeously every Saturday with a horrible makeup and set out with her friends of her caliber to any invited or uninvited party. Whenever she returns home, she would give her husband and daughter the food she brought from there to eat that she couldn't cook because she was tired. Emeka begged her to think of a business to do with the money he gave her in order to have something for herself. But instead, she squandered the money on latest dress and phone that Emeka had never dreamt of having one day. Then one day his friends visited him and complained about his look. But he told them he was fine. And then one of his friends asked him a question. Do you really think your wife loves you as you do? Emeka nodded his head, instantly affirming it to believe she does with her whole heart. His friends laughed because they wondered if it was love that has blinded his eyes from seeing the truth. They tried all they could to make him take another decision about his wife, but he was persistent that he loved his wife, and she does too. The day his wife came home with a man gave him the shock of his life. He couldn't believe his eyes. He entered immediately with her and queried her, but she wouldn't allow him win over her, abusing him, calling him a miserable man and 5 seconds man. You know that in everything a man couldn't accomplish or up to. There are some insults that they accept based on their situation, and there is one that can make them lose their patience and sanity, which was what Victoria just said. He grinned angrily, holding back his inner attack, and left the house without looking back. He started thinking how and when has he not been satisfying her. He cried and cried in a corner, all alone. He then called his mother and reported her, but instead of the right way, he got a consolation response and to act like the man of the house. For 2 days, he didn't return home, and still his wife didn't bother to call or look for him. He decided to focus on himself and he started 3 days fasting and prayer. And on the 4th day, he received a message from a company he had long submitted his CV to resume for the post of a managing director. It was as if he was seeing double, and he screamed out excitedly. He broke the news to his friends, who congratulated him. He then returned home in order to break the good news with his wife, and his happiness became desolated at the sight of the mossy sitting room. See, he went to the kitchen and it was the same. He called out his wife and she came out reluctantly, looking awkward in her masquerade makeup. He didn't understand why she eventually turned herself into a daytime masquerade, all in the name of trying to belong. Where is my daughter? He asked. Your look-alike daughter is in the hospital. The doctor said she has 2 weeks to live. She answered, and Emeka's eyes popped out like a socket. What? He screamed and grabbed her dress. He demanded what happened, and she said she didn't understand. That was why she left her in the hospital to just die. He pushed her to the floor angrily and dashed out to the hospital name she called. On getting there, he didn't see his daughter. They said the mother had taken her away. She was confused and then ran back home, and his entire life almost crumbled when he didn't meet her. He called her name, searched everywhere, and she was gone. He ran back to meet his friend, but he was told to calm, that they knew where his daughter was. What do you mean? He asked worriedly and confused. That was how his friend told him his wife truly didn't love him as they had said. They told him they acted on her when he told them about her wayward outing. They requested a friend of them whom she didn't know to have a close-up with her, and she fell for it. They told him how desperate she most times requested for jewelries and other materialistic items she needed to step up her fashion world. While saying this to Emeka, they were laughing, but to him, he was hurt within. He couldn't believe his wife could dish him to another man because of money. But where is my daughter? He asked impatiently. Well, your wife sold off your daughter for 1 million naira. His friend said, and he shouted, Jesus Christ. But how? He asked. And he was told they told their friend to test her, that he needed a girl to become richer, and in return would give her 1 million. It was immediately Victoria accepted and took her daughter to him the next day, that she was available and also not useful, that she could give birth to another child. Ha ha ha, was what Emeka could utter, and the child is in their custody. Emeka's eyes swells in tears, and right there he promised to teach her a great lesson. He reunited with his daughter and resumed to work. And it was a financial breakthrough for him that within 2 months, he had moved into a bigger apartment. He was also given an official car at work and the privilege to work international because of his good hard work. Meanwhile, Victoria had finished spending all the money and she returned to meet Emeka's friend. She didn't bother to look for her husband because she felt his life must have been more miserable. On getting to the house, she entered and was shocked to see her husband looking stunning with his friends who were waiting for her. Instantly, her mind flashes back to how the man she felt like her never for once followed her to her husband's house or even thought of snapping with her. He had always disregarded anything pertaining her husband. Yay, yay, she screamed and dashed out of the house. She knew she had screwed up big time. She went back home and quickly think on what to do. She knew her husband loved her so much and he would definitely accept her back. So she called him and he didn't pick. She texted him that she was sorry and had changed, that he should give her a chance to explain. To her surprise, after 2 months of begging back and forth, he replied her to come the day he wrote, and her mood was elevated. She believed him to forgive her, that he was only showing off. On the exact day, she dresses gorgeously in her own way and headed to the address he had sent to her. She was happy and at the same time wondering why he had said to meet on the beach. Well, probably to have a fun time together. She chuckled to herself. When she got there, she met another thing entirely. It was as if it was a planned walk from the entrance to the main place. Her bag fell down. Her mouth opened in awe and her legs were stuck, too heavy to lift. All eyes were on her and she couldn't lift her body. It was Emeka's wedding. Emeka, she stuttered, drifting backward a bit, tears streaming down her cheeks. She fell on her knees immediately she saw her daughter and then screamed, No! No, you can't do this to me. Please forgive me, my husband, she cried. Emeka took a microphone and laughed at her. He reminded her everything she had done and how foolish she was to have sold their daughter. He made her know that he intentionally told her to come and witness what she had lost forever, what she had failed to protect. While he was talking, a woman stood up and shouted, "Dirty housewife! She is very dirty and lazy." I was their neighbor at their former house, and I am saying this to her face. Dirty woman. You can never see her hold a broom to sweep the house or compound. Never. Very lazy woman. Victoria ran out of the occasion, shamefully regretting every mistake she had made. She perceived some aromas as she was crying, and as expected, it was coming directly from her armpit.
No, this stinks.
This smells bad. I am truly a dirty woman. My impatience has landed me badly. I refuse to listen, and now I am finished. How will I face my family? My husband has done me wrong. No, he didn't do well for me. So my marriage has ended like that. Just like that. She cried and cried without anyone to console her. She continues to live her life in loneliness while Emeka lives on with his daughter happily. I hope you enjoyed this story. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Ours and my advice to young ladies out there, be a coach your child or people around you could look up to. Be yourself. And don't try to impress others from losing yourself or whatever may be precious to you. When you are married, be a supportive wife and obtain cleanness without bringing shame into your home.